Hey guys, good morning. You're live with Bubba Da Vinci. Sorry I'm running a little late this morning. Kind of been a weird day. I'm going to take a second here. Um, yeah, okay, there. I think. Alrighty then. I've been sending out a couple of posts. It is National Daughters Day today, and I think that that was kind of a weird appropriate thing for today. Um, Maybe this is a good thing that it looks like I don't have a lot of people on today. It looks like I don't have anybody on today except for my daughter. Hello, honey. And so I might keep this a very short broadcast today. I wanted to make sure I got on here. Morning, wifey. Um, so I would meet my commitment and broadcast every day. But you know, last night, or I guess this morning at 2 a.m., I got some very sad news that a friend of mine, an old military friend, had committed suicide yesterday, and I was being contacted because there's very few of us left from my days in the team, and two of the guys that stayed relatively close um, to my friend and were the ones that notified me, and uh, he was Catholic and I'm Catholic, and they were concerned. So he was a gentleman my age, divorced, has a young daughter, which is why I said it kind of hit me hard today on National Daughters Day. It was like just kind of messed up, and owned a construction business. And the construction, I've been talking about the economy and housing markets in the toilet. And his construction business had several big contracts, and those contracts have been canceled. And his daughter's in college, and just a bunch of different things. And he decided that, for whatever reason, he committed suicide. And so yeah, my other two friends did not know how to handle the situation, because he was Catholic, and you know it it used to be that committing suicide was a mortal sin, and and in the movies and things like that. I mean, I think they still reference that suicide is a mortal sin, and a mortal sin will prohibit you from having being buried in a Catholic cemetery, or having um, being able to have your memorial service in a Catholic church, or you know um, have a priest give you your last rites, and preside over your service. And so my other two buddies contacted me. The ex-wife was notified. The daughter was notified. Um, you know, I don't know what the response was from his ex-wife, but his daughter's pretty broken up, and understandably didn't know how to handle anything. And I don't know if she's a practicing Catholic now. I mean, I know she was baptized Catholic. Um, but yeah, when you're 18 years old and starting your college life, um, yeah, you've got enough pressures, on you. Um, you know, Dealing with just life, and we'll go over some of the my thoughts that have been going on this National Daughters Day, which had me so emotional today. Thinking about my three girls, and I sent posted a message to, like, any young woman or just woman. Every woman's obviously a daughter. I think it's hard for a lot of the bond between fathers and daughters, if the father's there, um, is usually very unique. And then a lot of young girls have what they call daddy issues, because either the father wasn't in the household, or they felt like they didn't get the amount of support they needed. Having three daughters, our household was constantly filled with girls, with my daughter's friends. And I kind of became dad to a lot of them, because here in the farming community and back in Texas, men work a lot, and a lot of us are myself included, are not really good or in touch with our emotions, or good at saying the things that we should, or need to, should, or want to say. We're horrible at it. Me being growing up in a military family and being in the military and coming out, I'm horrible at dealing with those situations. And I know my friend that just passed, he was the same way. Most of the guys I know that were in the military are all the same way. While they might have good relationships with their daughters, we never say the things that we should, or really want to. So I got reached out to at 2:00 in the morning, asking me if I could help in any way. I'm a Knight of Columbus. I'm fairly engrossed in a lot of, I guess you could say, the political or higher up aspects of being a knight. I've had a lot of positions in the Knights, which is a Catholic fraternal order. And so they were asking my advice about what has to be done if his daughter wants him to be buried in a Catholic cemetery with the rest of the family and everything else. So at first I was shocked, and then I went through an entire roller coaster of emotional things, first being pissed, and then being upset, and then just being, just kind of thinking back on, all our years together in the military, and, just everything. And then thinking about my three daughters, and it's like, could I do that to my daughters? I mean, when you're a soldier and you're young, the thought for a lot of soldiers, death is just not your primary concern. You believe first of all, God, see, and I'm horrible this morning, and I apologize for all my stuttering, but I really am like at a high emotional threshold right now. I always thought we were bulletproof, and like I said, we thought we were bigger than the world, and we were going to achieve massive things and everything else. And as you get older, you realize you're not that way. And there have been, everybody has dark times, but I had three young girls that were counting on me, and every time things got tough, and I just thought, I just want to walk away from this. Not walk away from life, just walk away from whatever was going on. It's like, listen, I can live in a tent. I really could. I could be perfectly happy after my life experiences, going to another country and just backpacking and hiking, and taking odd and end jobs. I mean, I'm not afraid of work. I work on a farm, for God's sake. I have I cut wood. I do all kinds of stuff. I have a good executive corporate job, but I absolutely have no problem doing anything, washing dishes, everything else. I mean, when we bought the restaurant, while I was going to the culinary school, I insisted to do everything in that restaurant, from, starting as a dishwasher and moving my way, and I waited tables, and I did everything in there for a minimum of 90 days, or longer if I feel like I didn't get it, so I could understand every part of my business. And I have no problem with that. I have very little pride when it comes to doing that, because, I come from a relatively, you know, you know, low middle class Hispanic family, and most of my family, were laborers and things like that. Um, and so, my grandmother used to tell me it's like, doesn't matter what you do as long as you do it with pride and do it well. And I've really tried to stick with that philosophy. So, if I need to go shovel shit, well, and I actually do on a regular basis, when I have to go muck stalls for the animals, I don't look at it as, oh my God, it's a disgusting thing, I have to get someone to go do it. I just go do it. And I sing a song, I listen to music, I listen to the birds and, everything going on outside because, sorry, I'm going to be getting, constant. Sorry, I'm dealing with funeral stuff, and so this is going to keep popping up. I'm going to keep getting messages. I've got every contact I have in the Catholic Church, trying to get me answers on things. So anyway, just lost my train of thought. So shoveling shit. It just anyway. You do everything you can with a little bit of joy, right? So I knew times were tough for my friend, and I knew things were, he's had his ups and downs. The last 6-7 years, it's been mostly ups. The housing market's been booming. He had more work than he knew what to do with, everything else. But unfortunately, when when success is hitting you and you really don't think about it, you don't plan for those downtimes. And over the last 6 or 8 months, um, the number of big projects that he had put money into and invested in, buying materials, doing things, which were great contracts. A lot of them got shut down, and so his income to debt ratio went completely upside down, and he was looking at actually filing for bankruptcy. And I guess it was much worse than I thought. And talking to the guys, it sounds like we all knew it was bad, but we didn't know how bad. And he decided to take the route that he took. And now, talking with my family, it's interesting. A lot of life insurance policies have clauses in there that you don't get paid out if you commit suicide. But I know he was heavily invested in life insurance through the military, and he has, and he retired from the military. And so he gets all his, even though he took his own life, through those methods, he will collect 100% benefits. And so I'm making the assumption now, that part of the thought process he was going through, and I don't know. I mean, I feel kind of ashamed. Part of my problem is I kind of feel kind of ashamed because while over the last 90 days, he's reached out multiple times to kind of say, hey, let's get together, let's going on. And I've been so busy trying to help other people, trying to get our company and make our company, figure out what we're going to be doing. But we've got so many relationships with new companies that we're working with that need assistance, kind of. And he should have been one of them, but construction is not something that our company looks at. And, I could have taken a day or two and flown. I mean, shit, they all live in Florida, and I could have gone down to Florida. I was just in Florida. I was in Florida when we picked up the Jeep. I mean, all kinds of things. And I couldn't stop for, a couple of hours and, have a conversation and find out what was really going on in his head. Excuse me. I got to have a drink. and so I kind of feel a little bit ashamed about that. That you know, here's a friend, someone I've known for a long time, and someone was while he was playing it down to all three of us, we all knew he was in trouble, and he'd been very candid about it, and we were kind of throwing out solutions, but and our false bravado, the whole adapt and overcome, and blah blah blah, and you can overcome anything, you know as much as part of me believes that, the other part realizes it's complete bullshit. And we all play this mental game and trying to act like we're more macho and tougher than we actually are. And so anyway, so part of me is going through this whole I could have been and should have been a better friend, and just found out what was wrong. Just gave a few more minutes, and then I don't know if I could have done anything to stop this, but at least I would have known that I took the time when someone was reaching out and saying, hey, hey, do you have time to talk, or do you have time to do this? And again, I would take time to talk to him briefly on the phone, and we just sent a lot of text messages back and forth, but he was asking for a meetup, and I just kept postponing. So anyway, now I feel I have a moral obligation to help get his daughter through this next chapter, which is figuring out how to get him buried in the Catholic cemetery, figuring out how to make sure from our perspective, that the church's perspective, get him forgiven, and make sure she's in a better mental state, because it's not uncommon for the siblings and or the children and or the wife of someone who has taken their life to go down that same dark path. So anyway, that's how my morning started. I mean, this is supposed to be kind of my video diary thing, so I'm sorry it's so depressing, but this is where I get a chance to kind of throw out what's in my head. But as I was going through that, I got this thing that popped up on my phone saying it's National Daughters Day. So I just sat down and I started writing a very heartfelt email to all three of my daughters. And when I finished it and I was getting ready to send it off, I started thinking about his daughter, and I thought, something, I don't know what his last thoughts were, but I'm going to send this to her and let her know that I knew her dad very well, and I'm sure these were his thoughts. We're men, soldiers, men just in general are horrible about saying the things that they feel, and so I wanted to make sure there was out there. So I did, and I sent it to my daughters, and all of them replied. And then I started going, okay, I need to expand this, because the number of my daughter's friends and things like that the dads weren't in the picture, or they would come here and just say their dads didn't care, and this I just was like, okay, so I decided to send it out on Twitter and Instagram, and just post it and just said, hey, look, if you know anybody that you think might need this or whatever, just share it. Just kind of this heartfelt, because I can't imagine. I mean, I've met pretty hard people in my life, but I haven't met very many people that were so hard that in their hearts they really didn't care about their children or their daughters. They might have come from a bad background. They they might not know how to communicate it. There's lots of different things, but girls and women nowadays, they've always had a hard life, but it's hard being a young girl, especially in today's society. I was looking up some facts, after I was doing that, and I was trying to figure out, what kind of, and it's like, girls have always dealt with negative body image. They've always dealt with, social issues. They've always dealt with, depression, anxiety, peer pressure, but it's multiplied so much now by social media. You know, so many young girls, you know, are looking for that approval and looking for that, and and they do that through the posting, and they do it through social media channels, and they're peer pressured and they're bullied, and it's just it's so it was always bad when you were dealing with the local situation, but local now has become the entire world with TikTok and Instagram and everything else. And I feel, yeah, I feel so bad that everything is so compounded nowadays, and not just girls, boys and girls. You know, I think boys, it's a little bit different. I mean, I think boys get bullied and boys have peer pressure, and and boys have anxiety and things like that. But you know, at least I don't think I never worried about whether I was wearing the right clothes or was listening to the right music or any of that stuff. I mean, it was like for me, it was more, did you get picked by the right? Did you get picked on the sports team? Did you do this? Did you do that? And those are all still very, you know, it's when you're a teenager, whether you're male or female, so any of that stuff can affect you, right? But in high school, you were still just dealing with the people around you. Now you're dealing with the social environment directly around you. And then if you're not on social media and you're not keeping up with the Joneses, there's one type of peer pressure. I was actually talking to one of our clients, Billy and I was talking to one of our clients the other day, and he was saying we'd love to move, but he goes, we'd probably lose our daughter because she's so tight in this, in the social scene in California, in the Bay Area, with her Instagrams and her friends and school and all this other stuff, that if they decided to move out of state, they think that she would just opt to stay there. And she's 17 years old. And they said, we couldn't stop her, but she wouldn't want to move to a place that had less of social circles because that's her entire life. And I was thinking, wow, that's so wrong and tough. And I didn't say this out loud to him, but it's just like, can you imagine your entire life being revolving around that deep of your social circle, both on, he was saying if she wasn't able to post all the time and if she was in an environment where she couldn't find things to post about, that she would just be terribly depressed. And they've gone on trips and she's gotten depressed about that. Oh, this isn't cool enough. The posts aren't going to be good. And I'm just like, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to deal with that. Now, luckily, with my 3 daughters, there's a little of that here in Iowa. It's definitely not as bad as if we had stayed in Texas, because we live in a little town, and their graduating classes were so small and everything else. It's really hard to fall into that same thing there. And none of them got really big into the posting, and so they really never worried about it. But a lot of their little friends did, and we've seen some horrible situations, mental health issues and everything else with some of these kids. But these kids that live in the cities and they're dealing with this stuff on a national or on a daily basis, it's, I don't know. Yeah. And so then then I look at the, and parents play a part of that and everything else. I mean, school system so hands off, parents are so hands off. It's all about money now. It's like these kids are trying to make a ton of money. The parents are trying to keep up with it. College is expensive. The economy is all over the place. It's a whirlwind. And it's not a new whirlwind. This is, the world goes round and round. Suicide constantly happens. People, it's just, it's hard when you have to look it in the face, right? On a daily basis, I keep my head down. I keep moving on. I try to help the people that I can help. I try to make sure I'm there to support my 3 daughters and as many of the friends and everything else. I'm sorry, there goes my phone again, as possible. And, Anyway, it done talking about this. I just need to kind of get it off my chest. It's like, my family's kind of staying hands off because they realize how intense this is going to be. I'm actually, after I get off of this broadcast, I've canceled everything for today. I've taken the rest of the day off except for my one meeting today at 5:00. Because I've got to try to solve these things, and I don't know if I'm gonna take a trip down to Florida. I guess I'm 90% sure if we are able to do a military burial, or the Knights of Columbus. I'm fourth degree knight, which means we wear the uniform and we do burials. And so if he can get full military rights and we can get a Catholic burial for him, I will, see if I can get a hold of a local Knights group and see if I can get a Knights burial for him. Because he wasn't a Knight of Columbus himself, but the Knights will do burial services for other Knights and for people that were in the service. So anyway, so if you say, I can't even think right now. Give a little love to some, to a daughter, even if it's not your own. Just give some girl support out there. Everybody needs it. And that's all I have to say about that. There you go. All right, what else is going on? I'm too depressed to talk about the economy. Normally, I'd go ahead and I didn't even do any notes this morning. I do know that. Hey, thanks, Farm Don. Appreciate you, brother. I do know today starts a new thing on Pokemon Go. I can't even think about it. Shiny little dog, fairy dog. What is it? Is it? I can't even think of the name. Anyway, I know it's a shiny everybody wants. Thank you. I know it's a shiny that everybody wants. It's like really the last thing I've been thinking about today. Although it's one that I need. It's horrible. I actually was joking with my youngest daughter today. She was heading to nursing school. You have 3. Did you get 3 shinies? You couldn't have gotten 3 shinies already. Didn't it just start like 12 hours ago for you? Because it starts this morning at 10 a.m. Wait, yes, you got 3 shinies, or yes, it started yesterday for you. Being the future is fun. Shit, dude. You really got 3? Okay. I don't even have yes and yes. I don't even have one yet. On the Bubba account, which was my original account, that I have one on Pops. Not the shiny, obviously, because the shiny's new. But the Bubba account lay dormant for so long. It was the very first account I started with my daughters. We've gone over this, blah, blah, blah. And I just let it sit dormant for forever. And then I decided I was going to finish that one up, since it was the one that we started playing with back when the game came out. And so I am missing so many of the really cool 5-star guys, and that's one of them. And so my original plan was, starting at 10 o'clock today, I was going to put out notices like, anybody that wants to send me invites, I want as many raids as I can. Because were you able to 2-man it, or were you having it? Were you in groups? Missing I don't have. There's like hardly anybody here in my immediate area that plays, so I have to rely almost 100% on invites from other people, and getting into groups. If I really would have thought about it, I would have put out notification to Race Chick and everybody in Sweden, and I would have been on like late last night to get this all figured out. And then this shit hit me, and so I have not been on. have the game. When I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning, if I had thought about it, I would have just started turning on my phone and seeing if I got invites. So I am crossing my fingers between now and I think it's the 4th, which is not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'm thinking, that I will get enough invites to get a shiny. But I guess at the end of the day, as long as I'm getting, as long as I get one on my Bubba account. Sorry, like I said, I'm getting to get a lot of messages. Okay. Yeah. So I'm crossing my fingers and my toes. Yeah. Again, would be nice to get a shiny. I don't think it can be two manned by me. And I talked to my youngest daughter, and she's so backed up with schoolwork. She said she may give me some time on Saturday or Sunday to okay. May give me some time on Saturday and Sunday to be able to do this. I'm sorry. I'm obviously very distracted with what's going on here. I apologize. I mean, I'm sure this is a shitty broadcast. So I think that I'll probably, like I said, just end up getting off here in a minute, and so I can concentrate on these because everybody's waking up and they're seeing my messages that I sent out all night, and people are trying to help me get this done. So I'm gonna do my 2 tears to see maybe something good will come out of today, and I'll get Trainer Club his cool Lapras, and if not, that's okay. And if any of you guys are anybody that's going to be playing the next couple days and you get some raids, please send me any raids you can. Maybe I'll get lucky on that front. All right, so let's take a look. Once again, I'm just going to fly through these, and if any of these look like they may fill a void, I'll point it out. Oh God, I'm just like a mess today. All right, no. Oh, root fossil. I think that's going to fill a slot. Electrowire or Vire. No, don't need that. Oh, I got the Lapras, which will go into my set. So that's good. That because I gave Billy the first one that I got. So that's a bonus. Fletch Finder, don't need it. Electrovire, don't need it. Going into the collection. And Archildon, I think I actually need that one. So I'll have to take a look. So maybe I got 2 out of that pack. Or actually it would be 3 if you count the root fossil. And then well, I get the new iPhone. I do not believe I'm going to get the new iPhone, Farm Don. If you want, let me check today. And if you're thinking about getting it, and the reason why I don't believe there's enough of an upgrade above the 15 that makes it worthwhile to go spend. And I always get the Pro Max, and I always try to get the maximum storage on it. And I think, and I'm just going to look it up so I can confirm. I think it threw me off this year because when I looked it up to see what the 16 Pro Max with the max memory was, it was like over $2,500. And the that's a laptop. And I know that everybody right now is okay, maybe I'm wrong. It's kind of funny. In the last 48 hours or 72 hours, these things are not selling well. Um, I've gotten so many offers to get it for free, which isn't really for free. Um, you know, because oh, those are pounds. So looks like why is it everything giving me pounds and Australian dollars? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing everything. Everything I click on is giving like $1,000 discounts. That's so bad. The market sucks so bad. Um, yeah, I can't find it. Anyway, um, I haven't seen the value at this moment for doing that. Um, although um, for you, Farm Don, I know you've had some pretty old phones. I will go confirm. I believe the company phone you have is paid off, and if you wanted to, you could go take that one to an Apple store, and you'd probably get a pretty decent amount for it because I mean, it's a 14 Pro, I think, or whatever it is. I'm okay with you taking that and trading it in an Apple store to get the new one, because you'll get trade-in value. And I just have to verify that there's not some sort of like $5 monthly fee or something that's still writing on it. I'll go and check that today if you're interested in getting a new phone. And uh, I would say get rid of that. Get rid of that 14 and upgrade. No, well, I was just saying I gave the same offer to Billy yesterday, which is the company's not going to pay for the upgrade for you, but if either one of you wanted to go ahead and get the upgrade, it does have a nicer camera. It does. I mean, it's got the newer chipset in it. And here's the big thing. I hate this is the one thing that almost would make me get it. So they have the newest iOS in there, which for the first time has a game mode setting. Like if you go into Pokemon Go in the newest iOS, uh, it'll ask you if you want to turn on game mode. And what game mode does, it turns off a lot of programs that iPhone runs in the background, which prohibits the speed and the connection. And anybody that's got an iPhone has felt it, where it's like some of the Android phones work so much better and faster, and it feels like ours get a little clunky. And that's because Apple runs so much in the background. So the 16 runs the new iOS natively, and then there's an update that you can put on the older phones to get with the new iOS to do it. But on my 14 Pro Max, I put that new iOS up there, and it is horrible. On my 15 Pro Max, it is much better. And a friend of mine that lives in Creston, he bought the new 16 Pro Max, and he opened up one of his games that he was playing, and it ran flawlessly. And so from a gaming perspective phone, that's the thing I'm on the fence about. It's like, do I get rid of this 14 Pro Max and go ahead and get a 16, almost 100% for that Yeah, I get it, and I just overall gameplay. I mean, when I do play Pokemon Go, I don't like it when you get those choke moments and it freezes, and a lot of that is even when it drops, it's like you can't get back in. What you need to do is you basically need to sometimes go back, go all the way out, restart your system, turn off a bunch of things, and then you go back in, it runs better. It's because of all that background noise. And so with this new game mode, when it comes on, it'll pop up and say, if you say when you go into a game, it'll auto start game mode, and it'll do it, and it turns all that stuff off. And I've already noticed the difference between my 14 and my 15 in performance just from that new iOS. but that new iOS is clunky as shit on the older phones. So I don't want to be rushing out last minute to do that. And right now, I think the phones that we're doing, like their Verizon phones, things like that, some of them are offering such great programs. I mean, like I was just looking at one of these programs is offering like $500 off, and then the other ones are saying, I think it depends on if you get the Pro or the Pro Max or whatever it is. But every single company, I'm on here right now: U.S. Cellular, Verizon, T-Mobile, Boost, 1,000 off iPhone 16. Upgrade to your iPhone 16 now and get $1,000 off of the Pro Max, which is, I think, why the prices drop so much. And so I don't know. I know Apple's desperate because the phone didn't do as well as they thought. Nobody's spending big money right now, and let's be, like I said, it's almost a laptop. But if you can get these steep discounts now, the $1,000 off, depending on who the carrier is, I think it's a decent deal. And before you make any move, let me go to Verizon today and see what they're offering, and I'll throw this out to the entire team. If the 14s are paid off and we can trade those in, the problem with the trade in is that's usually part of the deal, and then you're carrying the rest. I like when I do a trade in, I usually go direct to the Apple store and then trade it in for the cash, and then pay cash for the rest, and then take it into Verizon and have them re-put the number on there. But again, I'll leave it up to you. But today I need to go into town anyway, into Des Moines, to go talk to the diocese, the church, for my friend. And so I'll stop. I was going to potentially stop by Verizon anyway and see what the deals are. But yeah, that's the only reason I would get a 16, believe it or not, is for the game mode. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm not doing it because of that. It just, again, life has to go on, and I was going to take a look at it anyway, just see what the numbers were. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this last one up. All right, so where's my don't need it pile? Don't need it. Don't need it. I don't even know if you're seeing this. There we go. Don't need it. Ooh, EV, but don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need it. Here's the problem as you get closer towards the end of your master pack. Don't need it. Reverse hollow. Fairlinks, don't need it. Reverse Hazel. Cell Sizzle, don't need it. And this is the full hollow Grimmsnarl, don't need it. So actually, they got nothing out of that pack whatsoever. All right, well, that's okay. Again, can't always knock them out of the park. So just feels like today's going to be one of those days. We're just going to keep our head above water, take some deep breaths, and keep moving forward. Thank you guys for participating and listening. I hope everybody else has a great day. Again, if you see a young lady, just sit there and say, happy International Daughters Day. I mean, everybody could use a little extra love now and again. Besides that, I guess we'll talk to you tomorrow unless something big comes up. So